Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife video for you. Today, I hope we have something that's going to be a bit interesting for you. I have 7 prototypes here from 2 different companies. These 3 are from Nitch Designs, which is a new company. They actually have a Kickstarter launching for the production version of this on the 17th of June. I'm putting this up on the, the 13th of June. So check that out in 4 days if you're interested in this and you want one of them. These 3 will just kind of show the design evolution of them, and then we also have 4 from Kansept Designs, which are going to go to production. 1 is pretty much already set. Other 3, they're still taking my suggestions about. But yeah, so this happens to me a lot. Not a lot, but fairly often. Companies send me stuff for my opinion before they go to production, which I think is really cool, and it's very flattering that they appreciate my opinion. So we're not just going to talk about the knives, we'll talk about what I do, like when I evaluate them, and I'll tell you what notes I'm going to give these companies on the way out. So yeah, it's a fun thing to do. I enjoy doing it. I like helping people out, and again, it's just flattering that they care about my opinion. So let's get going. We will start with the Nitch Designs. I'm going to put the concepts away here. We'll talk about each knife individually. Don't worry if you see something on the table that you're like, ooh, I want to know more about that one. Rest assured, we shall get there. Okay, so these are by Nitch Designs. As I said, the Kickstarter is launching on the 17th of June, 2020. I'm pretty excited about it. This one is the final production, so we're just going to kind of go through the evolution of them. So this was the first one. As you can see, it is a pretty unique design. When we get to the production one, I'll get more to how I evaluate things. But it's a pretty unique design. It is a very tall, worny, cleavery sort of blade. Very unique handle shape. But you know what? The ergos work good. As you can see, prototype. And they're very cool logo on there. I know that Eugene Kwan reviewed these 2, and he actually liked them as well. It is a very unique design. But man, using it, it's pretty darn nice. I've mostly been using the production one once I was told that was the final production version. So, but you can see the big change from the first version to the second 2 is they eliminated the flipper tab because honestly, it doesn't need it. And very glad they did that. I think that was a very smart move. And this deployment hole is larger because now that's the only way to open up the knife. So it makes sense to make that a little bigger. But I like this pattern on the handle. Full titanium construction. I'm not quite sure what the steel is on these in production, because I do know that if you go to the Kickstarter, it just says, launching on the 17th, and I didn't ask what the steel is, but I'm assuming it's going to be S35 VN, at least, probably M390, something like that. I know it's not going to be a super cheap knife, but I don't think it's going to be too crazy either. It is made overseas, looks like Wee screws, but really, really cool knife. It's different, for sure, but even in this original prototype form with the flipper tab, still like it. It's still not bad, but they did make the very good decision of getting rid of the flipper tab. So this is the second prototype. I love the milling on the other side. You have that nice 3-hole pocket clip. I'm not sure if that's a Benchmade pattern. It might be. I don't know. It looks maybe kind of big. I'm not really certain on that. But yeah, didn't need the flipper tab. Action is amazing without it. You can spidey flick it, thumb flick it, all that cool stuff. Great action, obviously with that big old blade. Very drop shutty, but you can see in the pocket, it's going to be big. We'll show you that when we get to the final one. But yeah, so that's what they did here. But the big difference between, I've just split it like this, between this prototype and the final one is this. They put these holes in the blade tang, and you know what? It does help with the balance. Is it going to catch some crud? Maybe, but now, even though it's a big old knife, the balance on this thing is just perfect. That's really good attention to detail. I'm pretty impressed with that. So let's put these 2 aside, and we'll talk more about this one, and I'll kind of show what I do to evaluate stuff. So put these 2 over here, and just slide out the production prototype. This one has no markings on it at all, but this is the final production prototype. And yeah, first of all, I always check the ergos. How does it fit in my hand? First impressions. And first impressions of this one are very good. very good to excellent. You can feel this kind of, more blocked off part here. I wouldn't mind if it was sloped down just a little bit, but it doesn't really bother me. Great place for your thumb to land. No real hot spots or anything. This titanium milling pattern, I really like it. Fits my hand really well. I will say, I hope that this blade finish is available on the production one, because I do really like this kind of acid washy blade finish. I guess we'll find out on the 17th when they do that. But if it's just going to be the satin is fine. But yeah, I like that finish that matches the blade like that. I thought it just looked, kind of evil. But yeah, really good ergos on it. That's the first thing I check. And then when I go to the blade, especially a big old blade like this, I want to know the thickness behind the edge. Obviously, you can tell by the name of the channel. Sliciness is the main thing I care about in a blade. So how thin is it behind the edge? I already know, but we're going to do this again anyway. Yeah, so you're looking at about 15, 16 thousandths behind the edge. And that is with a blade stock of only, 0.125. This thing slices all day long. And with this Wharncliffe blade, this thing is like a cardboard destroyer. I love it for that. It's so good for that. It's a very, very useful blade. I know it looks ridiculous, but it isn't. This is actually a really useful knife. I really do enjoy this. And if I'm not allowed to keep this prototype, which I'm probably not, I will probably buy one. It's just unique and it's cool. Not everyone's gonna love these holes, but they're nowhere where it's gonna cause any structural issues or anything. Yeah, they might catch some stuff, but it does make the balance so much better. And when it's closed, it just makes it look even cooler. That just looks undeniably awesome. If you are into ostentatiousness. Obviously, another thing I check, I put it in my own pocket, but you guys don't want to see shots of my crotch putting a knife in another pocket. Sorry, ladies. I'm also sorry for saying that. I should probably cut that out, but I'm not gonna. So yeah, is it a pocket dominator? Absolutely. If you have this in your pocket, that's probably all you want in that pocket. You can get past it, obviously. I'm pulling it off here. These are just normal old Levi's. But yeah, it's not as bad as you'd think it would be, because it is very thin. The handle thickness is only, and again, this is how I usually do this, is with calipers in my hand, because there's no stats for these. They're all prototypes. So yeah, you can see it's below 1/2 inch blade stock. So it's not as bad as you would think for being this tall, but it is. We're not even going to use the calipers for this. We're just going to use the marks on the table. These are all 1/4 inch. I'm going to go off screen where you guys can't see me. So yeah, a little over 2 inches tall in the pocket. So it's pretty tall in the pocket, but you can slide your hand past it. There's no flipper tab anymore, so you don't have to worry about that. That's not a problem. It carries better than you'd think, but yeah, it's still definitely kind of a pocket dominator. But honestly, I wouldn't put it that much worse than, say like a Cold Steel 8010 or a Manix 2XL or something like that. And then always got to check the weight. 4.4 ounces, not too bad. That's a whole lot of steel there, so that's actually pretty darn good. I don't usually take apart prototypes, so I can't really comment on all that, but you can see that it's very well milled out. Hopefully you can see. There's a lot of weight relief in there. Seems to be very well constructed. So that's basically my sort of how I evaluate prototypes. If I was giving criticism for this, what I would want to see is maybe get rid of this lanyard bit and just round it off, but that wouldn't really work aesthetically. But other than that, I don't really have that many complaints about this one. I love that they got rid of the flipper tab. I think that was a great idea. Not bad. So that is the Nitch Designs. It is called the Ingress. I forgot to give the model name number. The Nitch Designs Ingress. Yeah, go check them out on Kickstarter, June 17th. I'm going to link to their website down below, but if you don't want to scroll down, it's Nitch, Nitch designs.online. So go check them out. I'm definitely going to. I'm eager to see what these things cost. That's one thing I didn't ask the guy. So, but pretty cool design. Next up, These ones I definitely don't know what they cost yet. I'm guessing a lot of them are in that $200 range because they are concepts. So we'll start out in the order they had them laid out. So this one is very close to production. So I only had one suggestion for this one, and they said they're very close to production. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but this is also, of all the knives you've seen out here on the table, yeah, this is probably, I think, the best like EDC kind of like knife that's the most applicable to the most people that are going to be watching this. This is according to the print on the blade, the Falcon. I don't remember what the model number is. She sent me a bunch of the model numbers, but I don't know what they were. This one has a copper inlay, so it's going to be a bit heavier than the regular ones. They're going to have lots of finish options. Kansept always does. Front flipper that works extremely well. And a big old front flipper. You are looking at, oh, it's going to be slightly off screen. Yeah, 3.5-inch blade, a little over 8 inches overall. It's a bit heavy, but again, that's the copper. And it is a bit smelly because of the copper, but that'll go away eventually once it gets some more patina on it. Black coated titanium frame lock. I'm guessing this is going to be in the base version. Probably this copper one's going to be more. In the base version, it's probably going to be around that $200 mark. That's what Kansept have been. I'm assuming it'll be S35 VN. I think this one says on it, yeah, S35 VN. So it'll be S35 VN. That's what they do on all their higher end ones. But the action on it is fantastic. I've actually been carrying this one quite a bit. I really enjoy this. I like a front flipper. This one works extremely well. Again, one of the first things I check is ergos. How does it feel in my hand? Pretty darn good. The only thing I would complain about, and I don't feel it, but I think long-term use, if you're working on this, using this thing and working for like an hour, the lanyard hole, again, I always complain about lanyard holes, but like this is like a little hump. I don't see the need for that on a knife like this. I'd almost rather it had like a pass-through. That's the only suggestion I'm making to them. Actually, I've already made to them. Is I would like to see this go away and do something else for a lanyard. Or not. Or just don't have a lanyard thing. It's not a big deal. I also think it breaks up some really beautiful aesthetics. That's always obviously a personal opinion, but I don't know. It just seems a bit out of place. I wish that would go away. But it's not a huge ergo problem at all. Just a minor little annoyance. They said this was the one that was closest to production. This is the one that would be coming out first of all the ones they showed. But yeah, overall, I'm liking this. D10 could stand to be a little bit stronger, but this is a prototype, so I don't usually go too much. It's in the ballpark. If it's in the ballpark, I usually assume like, all right, they'll get it right, you know, when it comes out. They're definitely off to a good start. Oh, here's the model number on it. If I can read it myself, K1007A5, I assume is this configuration. But I do like all my cryo has the same kind of hardware on it. I do like the look of that kind of goldy, bronzy hardware. Looks really nice. And, you know, Kansept's been doing some really cool stuff. I have other ones, you know, that I enjoy. I have the aforementioned cryo. This is the one I have with the orange peel finish. Has that same stuff on it, which is very dirty because I do actually carry this. And the Warrior. These are two that, you know, are in production. So yeah, this kind of reminds me of like a front flipper Warrior with a little bit more of a contoury sort of handle. But yeah, they're doing good stuff, and I'm excited to see this one out. Again, I'm just guessing on the price. I'm guessing it'll be a basic version, you know, that's more like 200. That's I think these went for like 250 with the carbon. So it's gonna be somewhere in that 200, 250 range. I think the cryo is about 200. Yeah, but so go check this one out because this is the closest to production. It's probably going to look like this. It's probably going to have that lanyard hole, but I don't know if they're going to listen to me or if I'll catch it in time. So let's get to let's do some more measurements on this one really quick, and then we'll get to the ones that are a bit farther out for production. So thickness behind the edge. Always want to check that. 0.18, perfectly acceptable. You have the blade thickness, 0.14. Nicely crowned spine, by the way, which is really nice to see. Handle thickness, 0.48. It feels thicker than that, you know, but it isn't. The calipers do not lie. Unless the battery's running low. Then sometimes they lie. Now we'll weigh it. Hello. And we have a weight of, this one's going to be heavier because it's the copper. Yeah, 5.17. So without the copper, if it's G10 or carbon inlay or something like that, you know, it's going to be a lot lighter than that. So for copper, that's not too bad. For a big old copper inlay like that, cannot really complain. Now, next up, we'll bring out, I don't know when this is coming out. This is made by a designer that I'm not familiar with. Jelly Jerry Design. It sounds familiar, but I can't really remember where I heard it from. It's called the Genesis. Another kind of Warncliffe blade. They're so hot right now. Flat ground. Very interesting look. It's very kind of futuristic-y. Can't say I'm in love with the shape of it, but, you know, it's to each his own. As far as functionality goes, it looks like it would be an ergonomic nightmare, and it is totally not. That was one thing. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, God. And then I got it in my hand. No, the ergos are excellent. This little harpoony bit up top works extremely well. You can also choke back here and use it. Fits my hands fine in almost any grip. The ergos on it are surprisingly good, I will say. Very, very, very good. And the blade's not bad either. We'll do again. It's a very bold choice as far as the overall shape goes, but oh, come on, you stupid thing. There we go. If I can get it right, I keep slipping off. Yeah, about, I think I marked it down as 25 thousandths. It's not super thin behind the edge, but it's not too bad. Blade stock's a bit thicker at 0.16, so this is meant to be a bit of a heavier duty blade, but it's not too bad. You got a good tip on it and everything. The only problems that I really had with this is just I don't find this opening hole to be super easy to use. It's not bad for a Spidey flick. I think that could stand to be bigger somehow, but then you are going to be moving into this. That's going to be my suggestion on this, is that opening hole just somehow just isn't quite right. I can get it every time, but I got to think for a second. It's definitely not like a mindless thing. It wouldn't be a deal breaker for me, but I think that I would not mind that opening hole being different. Also, not a fan of this carbon inlay. I had a Kaiser in recently too that had that on it, and honestly, I was so meh on the knife, mostly because of that carbon inlay, that I sold it before I even did a video on it. I don't even remember what the model name was. It was so unimpressionable that I just moved it along and didn't do a video because I had other stuff to do. This is it's just not great. It looks just like the one in the Kaiser. I think these are made in the same factory, but it definitely looks that way with this carbon and their packaging and stuff. But I will say the Kansepts are usually a bit nicer fit and finish than a lot of the Kaisers I've had recently. But and this is a bit nicer fit and finish than that, but it looks like that same carbon. I just don't think it's necessary, or put better carbon in it. I don't know. I don't care for it. And they're screwed in. It just is more screws. Maybe if they glued it in, it would look a little bit better. I don't know, but I would rather see a different inlay material than that particular kind of carbon. But again, the ergos are good. Yeah, it just looks kind of unique. If you're into that, it's cool, and it does work very well as a normal knife. It's fine. I would just say something's got to be a little different about that opening hole. I can't quite figure out what it is, and no to the inlay. Nicht gut. Not into that. All right, and then next up, we'll do two at once. These are both Michael Williamson designs. I will admit, and I apologize if Michael is watching this, he did a couple collaborations with Wee Knives, and I didn't care for them. The sticks, and I don't remember the other one, they were just very gyptastic. I didn't find them comfortable in my hand at all. And I know I reviewed one. Don't know if I reviewed the other, but I know the one review I did wasn't terribly favorable. These are big old knives. You were looking at, 3.6 inch blade, I would say. 8 3/4 inch overall length. These are two different versions. This is an S35VN titanium one, and then this very uniquely colored, and this is a frame lock, liner lock G10 with D2, and I assume they're coming in a whole bunch of colorways. This is again, a bold choice. I'm not sure I would want this color, but maybe with black scales, it might actually look kind of cool. With the gold liners and like some black scales, I could probably get down with that. All running on bearings. Everything you saw today is running on bearings. There's a lot of weight relief in there. You can see it really well with the gold. That's one nice thing about the gold, is it does show nice and reflective. It is called the Gas Giant. Not sure I love that name, but you know, that's just neither here nor there. But yeah, Michael Williamson. But like I said, I did not like his Wii collaborations. I do like this one. This one is pretty good. This is one that I don't really have any other suggestions for, except I don't really like that color and I don't like the name. But as far as functionality goes, yeah, I think it's on the right track. It is definitely a big old bruiser. It does still have a lot of jimping. It's kind of a Michael Williamson sort of thing. Yeah, I don't like the look of that. The way they printed it either, I don't really care for. But it doesn't bother me at all. You can choke up on it nice. The ergos are excellent, just excellent. No complaints there. Again, very, very high flat grind. Again, this is another cardboard destroyer. Let's check that thickness behind the edge. We'll do some weight. So in the S35VN, we have... Oh, I know that's not right. Yeah, there we go. So I know it's thin behind the edge, but it ain't that thin. Yeah, about 23 thousandths, 24 thousandths for a blade this tall. And blade stock, 0.16, pretty thick blade stock, but it slices great. No issues there. The D2 is the same, but we'll just verify that. Same exact blade shape, same exact handle shape. Yeah, again, roughly in that 23 thousandths range. Ergos, again, pretty good. This isn't quite as good with this pocket clip. This has just a spring clip. The ergos aren't quite as good on the D2 one. You can feel that pocket clip just a little bit, and you can feel the liners a little bit here and there, but it's not bad. It's just not quite as good as the titanium one is. But yeah, this one, as far as functionality goes, very few complaints. I wouldn't mind if I guess this was cut out to access the lock bar a little bit better, especially on the titanium one. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if they did that, but sounds good. Action is great. Obviously, it's very fall shutty because there's a big old giant blade on it running on bearings. Doesn't make that good a sound, but you know, that's something you can't tune a knife for sound really, but I don't know, it just sounds kind of dead. I guess there's just a whole lot of titanium there. But yeah, this is not a dual layer. This is just the coating, and then they mill it off. So on the G10 one, you know, it's obviously like a dual layer, but this is just kind of to mimic that same look, but it isn't. It's just coating and no coating. Let's get out the scales. Hello. I love that my scales say hello to me. For the titanium one, these are not light. Yeah, 6.3 ounces for the tie. And 6.2 for the G10. So yeah, they're pretty hefty knives for sure, but they are big old bruisers. I really kind of like this one. I'm not in love with the G10 one, but I really kind of like this one. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's kind of unique. It's not something that I usually do, but I thought you guys would enjoy this. For once, I had some prototypes in that the company was actually both companies were totally cool with me talking about them. So I did that, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Keep an eye out tomorrow night on Brews and Blades. If you're watching this on the day that I release it, I'm going to be showing a little tease of something else that I'm exclusively allowed to show you. So I got permission from the company. So it's not a prototype. It's a production knife, but it's not out yet. So tomorrow night, at the end of the show, you'll see a little tease of something that nobody else is allowed to show you. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this and got a little insight as to how I evaluate a knife. It's not just with prototypes. It's kind of how I evaluate everything. Those are my first initial steps when something comes out of a box. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.